Okay, so I have assembled the top and bottom of the mask. You can see I have sewn the seam. I have not done the edge stitching yet though. And when I go back over there to the machine to do the edge stitching, I'll let the seam lay over to the right and hold it down on the sewing table and then pull this over. That's a good way to get started. Line your, another good tip for doing edge stitching is put your needle down into your fabric before you get started. That kind of helps because as you sew, you'll want to be pulling your fabric apart like this, as well as checking to make sure that your seam is still laying over to the right side. Once you've done that, it should look similar to this. Okay, should look like this. Notice that the centers are matched up pretty well. Nobody's perfect though, guys, so you can maybe see that this edge looks like it matched up really well. This edge hangs over a teeny bit, not a big problem, just don't worry about that. When you do the sewing though, if you haven't sewn on curves before, it might be really helpful if you actually start in the middle and work your way to the edge, and then you can then work from this edge to the middle, making sure that you keep everything lined up. So now that this is edge stitched, it's time to put the two pieces together. But first we want to put the nose bridge piece here at the top. I'm going to try to lay this out where you can see it. See that curve? The top is of course the part with two pieces, so I'll get that nose bridge piece and attach it here. Let me go get that. So here's our nose bridge piece. I'm going to fold this over lengthwise, mark the center, and I usually mark that with a pen just because I'm about it. If you have good cotton, it will make a crease. You don't have to pin it. And then you want to line up that center with this seam at the top. I usually pin that in place and then take it back over to the machine, and I'll just stitch this in place. Basting is fine. You can do it any way you like. Just be sure that you try to follow the curve, because this is a straight piece going onto a curved piece. You just want to let it wrap around with the curve, keep the edges together, and I'll show you why after I make the stitch. So I've stitched that in place, and I just wanted to show you the reason that you want to follow that curve is because it helps this nose bridge piece stand out away from the inside of your mask. It's kind of hard to make this out, but there is literally a gap up under here between this and this curved part. You want that because it helps to capture your breath. Nothing is 100%, but when you fold that back down inside, it will still maintain this a bit of distance away from the inside of your mask. Now when you put that up against your nose, of course it won't be as excessive as this, but it does help, or at least I think it does. So now we want to put the straps, we want to pin them in place, and this is how we go about this. So I have a set of straps here that I'll be using. Let's see, yes, I think I want to use these. So this set of straps is one that I made previously, and if you haven't seen the video on how to make these straps from stretchy knit fabric, I'll put a link to that below this video. So you have, when you're putting straps in, you want to put the ends not this way with the long part of the strap sticking out, but you want the long piece on the inside. So just start out by piling that in the bottom of this bowl that this part makes. And you want to pin this approximately a ½ inch away from the top of the mask. And you'll do the same for the bottom of the mask, except you'll do it a ½ inch from the bottom. And that's a ½ inch from the cut edge of the bottom of the mask to the bottom side of the strap. And in this case, I'm going to put this so that this gap here between strap and top is approximately a ½ inch. You want it near the corners. You don't want it too far away from the corners. So I'm going to do this around the mask, and then we'll do the next step. So now that we've put all of the straps on, I now want to take the outer mask and pin it to all of this, catching, making sure that I keep the straps on the inside, make sure that the nose bridge piece stays to the inside, and I'm just going to pin these in place. And I just lay it on top here and then match up the corners like this. So you just match the corners up like so, and then using your fingers hold the strap in place, pull out your pin, and then repin it, and try not to pin you to the mask. That's never pleasant. So I'll complete pinning this all the way around, and then I will show you where we're going to stitch. I'm also going to add one extra pin, and that is matching up the seams on this part of the mask, as on the outer part, with the inner part. It's a little hard to see, but I like to match those up just to make sure that I'm following the curve appropriately when stitching. So we want to sew this beginning here so that we leave a gap here. We want to back tack, sew to the corner, pivot, and continue around. It's important that you try to follow this curve. Don't try to make it straight between here and here. It gives a better shape if you go up into the corner and then follow the curve up to the top and back around to this other corner. Once you get to here, sew back to about right here and back tack again. I'm going to go do that, and I'll be back.